So let me guess, you've been trying to deal with the DMV and there's a lot of delays, a lot of runaround, you can't get straight answers, or you can't even get anything done at all. Why is this? What can you do about it? How can you get better service from the DMV? Let's take a look at what the reasons are and how to solve some of these problems. We deal with the DMV hundreds of times every day, by phone, in person, and we even attend a lot of the DMV commissioner conferences they have every year to get an idea of what's going on behind the scenes at the government titling agencies. Now, when I say DMV, different states call their titling division different names. Some of it's Department of Motor Vehicles, sometimes it's Department of Transportation, sometimes it's Secretary of State. But in any case, it's the Vehicle Title and Registration Bureau of that state. Most states call it the DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles. Here's a great article from the Dallas Morning News in Texas showing how even in one of the largest cities in the country, there are problems with the DMV and title problems. Here's why. They're struggling to keep up with title because there's an increased registration, staff shortages, and frequent software outages. Well, why is there problems with software at the DMV? Well, here's one of the biggest hidden secrets about the Department of Motor Vehicles that many people don't know. Most government agencies are using software that was developed and installed decades ago, sometimes in the 70s and 80s. If you're looking at a computer right now, you're probably looking at Windows or a Mac with graphical images on your screen. Many DMV computers, if you peeked around the corner, are old DOS text-based systems. They're not even on Windows. Many of these systems use a programming language called COBOL, which is from actually the Cold War era, from the 60s, 50s, and 60s. This has been modified over time. They've never really evolved and used modern technology. They're using old legacy systems. A lot of these software systems are just patched together with basic code. The other problem they're having is staff shortages. Like every other business, it's very difficult to retain and develop excellent staff, especially at the government level. Look, in the private sector, we run multiple companies. You can have incentives and bonuses and have great pay plans and have a good corporate culture to retain great employees. In the government, what's called the public sector, you can't do those things because there's no profit motive, right? So if you went to, let's say, Best Buy to buy a TV, there's going to be people all over you trying to help you buy a TV because there's an incentive for them to sell another TV. They make more profit. They have more sales. The government doesn't care if you get another title. It doesn't make them any more money. It's a service they have to provide. And that mentality filters down to the frontline staff. Most of them are very great people. They're well-meaning, operating in good faith. They're trying to assist you, but they don't have the training and the motivation and the corporate culture to strive for excellence, right? That's why many government agencies are used as a punchline on movies, TV shows. Like, you go to the DMV, you deal with the IRS. It's always kind of a joke. And here's what's happening. In this particular county, there's huge delays. I don't even have enough employees to serve all of the public, according to their tax assessor. Right? Backlog of thousands of motor vehicle title documents. Backlog. That's a big deal. That's probably what you're facing, is that backlog. And this backlog is with doing everything possible to overcome the delays. The only other thing they can do is ask the public to be patient. There are 12,000 title transactions this week. The delays are affecting motorists and dealerships, leaving staff with tough choices. And here's where it affects you. Do you help the public member standing right in front of you, or do you come over and help the dealer who dropped off 100 titles? Right? That's what is happening behind the scenes at the title agency. So, first of all, let's take a pause. What is your experience with this? Have you been to the DMV lately? Have you tried to call them? Have you tried to process paperwork? Is there a delay? One of the things that we see every single day is the volume of calls. So let's say that you as a consumer want to get an answer from the DMV. You may go to their website, but this day and age, a lot of people are actually bypassing websites and just going right to the phone. You see a phone number, you try to call up. Well, good luck calling the DMV. They don't have people sitting around answering the phone. They don't have a phone bank of customer service people waiting to help you. All of their staff, like the commissioner just said, is working on doing titles for consumers, dealers, auctions, lenders. They have work to do. They can't be sitting on the phone all day giving out information on the phone that really is on their website. So they don't have the staff for it. So here's what happens. Consumer calls up, they don't get through, wait on hold, no answer, whatever it is. And then they end up doing a Google search and they look for title information and they see Car Titles, our website, and they call us up. We get, the last week, we've had 1,000 calls a day. Every day. This is the first time it's happened for a week straight. We've had days over 1,000 calls, but it's never been all 5 days of the week. It's been 900, 800, maybe a couple over 1,000. This last week was the first week there was 1,000 calls every day for a week. A lot of those calls are people that tried to call the DMV, wanted to get information, can't get through, so they figure, I'll just call this title company and get information. We know what it's like dealing with the DMV because we're their backup customer service. We end up being free customer service for the DMV. And a lot of people need title assistance. That's why we have our website, these videos. Every document you could ever need is on our website to download because we know what it's like to deal with the DMV. Customers are starting to feel frustrated by the wait because their staff shortage is really hard to overcome. There are 30 people unfilled and 12 with new employees now in training. So you have 40-something people out of 285 that are not up to speed. A lot of people are working overtime just to try to catch up on titles. And there's the software problems. This software system in Dallas was created in the early 90s to register and title vehicles. That's the most recent technology they have. The system and aging technology has created challenges that require attention. The problem is it's hard for them to switch over. And every DMV is facing this. There's at least 50 different titling authorities in the country, and they're all facing it. So if you are a person looking to get a title, how do you deal with this? How do you get the best results? Well, the most important thing is try not to rely on the DMV for assistance. Only rely on them for execution, right? Don't expect customer service like you get from a private company. Don't look for customers or DMV agents to walk you through processes. They don't have the time for that. They don't have the ability in some cases. Sometimes the frontline workers are at the windows really don't know how to give you guidance. They can just approve or disapprove paperwork that's brought to them. So here's what we recommend. Any title scenario you have, get all the forms and documents online and print them out at your house on your home computer. Print them on paper. Don't try to do anything email, online, electronic, because DMVs are not good with electronic, as you saw from their technology. Print the documents and then fill them in 100%. We recommend typing them instead of handwriting them. And we'll talk about that in a minute, why it's important to type them instead of handwriting. Once all the documents are completed, and make sure you follow all the instructions. Most DMV documents actually have a checklist and instructions on the document. We also have in this video channel, every single DMV document has a video with instructions how to fill it out. We talk to DMV 80, 90 times a day, working on files for clients. They tell us what are the common errors people make on the forms, and we cover all that in the videos. So fill out the documents so you don't make those errors, because DMV tells us all the time, 30-40% of forms that they get, they have to kick back because there's a mistake on it. So if you fill out the forms the right way with their instructions, use our instructions, it's all free. If you watch our videos, there's no cost for that. Fill out the forms and send them by mail to the main office for the titling authority. Don't use a local branch, don't go in person to a local branch. A lot of clients think that, well, if I go in person, I can maybe get it quicker. That may or may not be true. A lot of local branches just have to send it to the main office anyways. Some of the regional offices in some states have the authority to issue certificates because they're allowed to keep them on site. Many locations don't have official certificates on premise. So they're just going to have to send your application away anyways. The other problem is if you bring it to a local branch, now you have a person who may not be at the highest level of authority looking at your documents. They may not know all the details. So what you should do is put the package together, make a copy, and send it by mail to the main branch of your state's titling authority. It's usually in the capital city, and it's usually the DMV capital. If you look on the form itself, it'll have the main address, or you can look it up online. Send it by mail. You don't have to FedEx it. You don't have to do any speedy mail because it'll get there in a couple days anyways. In many cases, if you send it by mail to the main office, some states now have some scanning authority, meaning that if they get documents that are typed, they can put them into a scanner, and a scanner reads them and issues the documents without a person having to touch them. Anytime a person has to touch it, it's going to slow it down. So if you send it by mail, they can maybe go through a scanner because the main office has a scanner. Here's the other thing. When you send it, don't use a regular letter envelope. Use a flat, big package envelope because a folded document may not be able to go through the scanner. If you keep those documents flat and never fold them to put in an envelope, use a big legal size envelope, then it'll go through the scanner. And you have a higher probability of getting it back faster and without being rejected. Those are some suggestions to get your title documents back faster. Make sure you follow the instructions because, look, DMV is a government agency. One little thing, not I's dotted, T's crossed, is going to get that thing kicked back. And they're already dealing with delays and problems as we saw. And you don't want to add to the complexity by having something wrong. If you have questions, you can reach our website. We have a help desk, and we'll be glad to be of assistance.